I'm very grateful for him. How many people have just grown just for the time that he's been with us in June? It has been really great just to have him on. He comes from a place that is sincere, it's relatable, and I can't be ever so grateful for it. Is honestly, so just to give a little glimpse for those that are joined us for this first time with us. Now he gave us four keys of questions. Four keys of questions. The next one was seven hard habits, right? Seven hard habits. And then the last one was the importance of building event to event. Hence the reason why I shared that flyer with you, because it's a great thing. And so he gave us the importance of it, what it's done, not just with his team, but what it can do also for us, not just us going, but bringing a team along with us. So very grateful for that. I would just say this, that he speaks on this ACN stage to thousands globally, and he is a phenomenal leader. He has phenomenal people on his team who he's trained and coached to the top positions in our company. And they themselves have been recognized by the co-founders personally, and also have walked that same stage that he speaks on to be promoted. He explains things that seem complicated to us and breaks it down to simple steps that are feasible, palatable, that causes you to be put into action. How many people have been put into action? How many people can say that just this whole month that you have been? And not only that, how many people just have enjoyed him for what he's just given along with it? And that's the thing. It's not just enjoying, but it makes you move. And that's what I love. Sometimes you need to be, either hit on the chest or tapped on the shoulder to say, hey, get yourself in action, man. So he meets you where you're at, and I'm just willing to help anyone that's looking to grow their business. This is one of Mr. Thomas's favorite speakers here. And so just if you could do this favor for me, can you put your hands together for Mr. RVP, Dean Tarrolly? Are you here, sir?
Harrison, thanks for stepping in. I know Mr. T is I know he is traveling. So as you and all the leaders do in this group, you guys always just step up and step in and kind of like not skip a beat. So grateful for your leadership for on behalf of all the teams. So thanks for hosting. Thanks for doing what you do. And man, just positive, dude. It's always great to get this call started. You are one of those positive dudes, and it's just we could all use that, right? You guys, I got to tell you. So we were at our national training. Hi, Renata Krumer. So one of my favorite people, RVP on there. Such a love. So I was on a call yesterday, actually with the owners of the company and the leaders with Renata. Renata, side note, I know I kind of got to play the bad guy, but you know what? People don't typically see that side of me. But it actually goes to something that I want to talk to you guys about today. So preparing my notes, which I have for you guys, and I do every week that I'm on here. So I was thinking about this. We just came off of this event, and the event was great. The promotions were great. The ladies took charge of that stage for sure in that regard, which was great. The event was, I thought, awesome. And everybody can improve. The event can improve, the leaders can improve. Most importantly, we can improve. But what a great environment it was to do a few things. Number one, to get us trained up. Number two, it builds belief. Number three, there should be like a real level sort of emotional attachment to what it is that we're doing as a company and as a team. So anyway, I'm a day or two past the event, and I'm really considering what am I going to talk to you guys about to wrap up my time with you. And I kept thinking of different things, and I kept coming back to the same thing. I kept coming back to the same thing. For those of you who I've been around for a while, you know that one of my favorite people out there, who not necessarily is in network marketing, but is kind of a leadership, personal development type of person, who's a very successful businessman, is is Gary Vaynerchuk. And I was thinking about this, and then why is his name coming back in? So I haven't really talked about him in a while and some of the things that he talks about. And something really struck me. And this is something that I may have spoken with you guys about months, if not years ago. And here's what he said. He said, and this is not a direct quote in no uncertain terms, but here's what he said. He said, there's things that we're good at, and then there's things that maybe we're not as good at. And what do most people do? They're good with the things that they're good at, but they spend their time getting better at the things that they're not good at, where they need to improve. Does that make sense? Like, work on your weaknesses, right? Like, we've heard that. And here's what he said, and I 100% agree, right? Don't do that. Crush your strengths, the things that you are good at, crush it. If you're great at getting customers, 200, 300, 400, 500 points. If you're good at recruiting, if you're good at team building, like, do that and do it consistently every day. And then in the nooks and the crannies of it, work on the things that you need to get better at. But you guys, don't give up your strength for your weakness. Am I making sense? Don't give up the thing that you're really good at. And by the way, if you find the thing that you're really good at, it's very reasonable, I think, to say that if you are very good, if you consistently do the thing that you're good at, I'm telling you, you're going to get results. Now, those results might come in the form of customers. Those results might come in the form of reps. Those results might come in the form of getting people registered for the events. But at the top of my notes, you guys, it says evaluation time. So everybody needs to take a second right now, right? And I know some people are driving, but hopefully most of you aren't. And I just want you to take a second, and I want you to write down one or two or maybe three things that you are really good at. What ACN skill set are you most confident in? What is the thing that you could be put into a conversation, whatever, and it's a no-brainer. It's a piece of cake. I'll give you an example from someone on this call, right? I'll give you an example from someone on this call who's on my team. So there's a guy on my team on this call, and his name is Mark Maples, and you've heard us talk about him before. So he's kind of chuckling. That's his nickname, Big Chuckle. But anyway, Mark, let me tell you guys, like, no joke, Mark has got Vivint down. He's got this thing so down, he's got customers referring customers to him. By the way, show of hands, who would like that? Do you guys know that Mark can get a customer on Vivint while driving, coffee cup in hand, on the 405 freeway, driving with his knee while he's three-way calling one of the Vivint reps that he works with? Why can he do that? He is extremely confident, and he has proof and evidence because he's got a ton of customers. Those customers are referring customers, right? I want Mark to continue to smash those Vivint numbers, right? For sure. And I know that he's taking that same philosophy that he has with the confidence in Vivint, and now he's doing everything in his power to apply it to Impact. It's a similar thing because it's a referral-based situation here. And if it's businesses, we're going to get the people from Impact involved. Just like with Vivint, you're going to get that Vivint rep involved, and you stand back and let them do their work. Do you guys see how that's connected? I'll give you another example, okay? I'll give you another example. Someone that when you know what you're good at, like, smash it. And I'm going to tell you something. Roxanne is phenomenal at building relationships and creating new business. And you want to know what she doesn't care about? In, out, yes, no, like it, don't, doesn't matter. She understands it's a numbers game, and I'm going to give you the proof of it. You guys know she moved from San Antonio, Texas to Lubbock because of the electricity launch. But when she got to Lubbock, she had 0 people on her team there, and she didn't have any connections. But you know what she's really good at? getting out there and meeting people, building rapport, creating relationships. So when I asked you guys to write down 1 or 2 or 3 skills, when I asked you guys and said to you, look, this is self-evaluation time, right? As I'm going through all my notes, what am I going to cover with you guys? And like, you know what? We need to take stock. We need to evaluate where we are. What difference does it do if you guys get all these great trainings from all these great leaders, but you don't really have a truthful handle on where you're at? So when you look at where you're at in business, in any business, and certainly in our business, we got to look at the things that are on the asset side, the things that we're really good at, and we need to look at the things where we need to develop. But I'm asking you not to overspend your time on the areas you need to develop. Spend your time on the things that you're great at and fill in those nooks and crannies, those windows of time to get better at some other things. Okay? So the first thing I asked you guys to do is to write down 1 or 2 three skills in ACN that you know you are confident. You are confident. You know that you could have a conversation with someone. So let me give you an example. So Harrison, can people unmute themselves or no? Do we have to unmute them? You just have
We
to
can,
tell me.
I'll set them up.
Okay, you have to unmute them. All right. So here's what I'd like to do, right? Nobody knows who I'm going to call on. So I'm going to make a point today because I want this last call to be impactful for you guys. Here, let's go to Kush. Kush, can you unmute yourself? Mr. Pentaki? Okay, let's see if is he good now? Give it a try, bud.
Yep. Okay, it's good now.
Perfect. So you had no idea I was going to call on you, and by the way, it was great to see you at the event. Do me
You
a
too,
favor
sir.
for everybody. Can you give a skill that you know in ACN you are mega confident? Like there's no doubt in your mind that you can accomplish whatever that thing is. What is it? Could be anything.
Sure. That would be making the initial connection with somebody and really making them feel good and connected with me.
Okay, good. So what I would tell you is this, you guys, when you start recognizing, and you can mute yourself. Thank you, sir. When you start recognizing the things that you're good at, you know what happens? You become confident. And when you become confident, you take more action. And when you take more action, you're going to get results. Right? So he said making that first initial connection is something that he is confident in. Right? So how great is that? Simple. So anyway, you guys, so that is awesome. So let me go to see who is got the camera on. Ryan Swallow. Ryan, do me a favor. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Hey, brother. So what would you say is a skill that you have that you know, maybe 1 or 2, 3 that you know for sure you could knock out of the box? Someone has a conversation with you and what's your go-to?
Vivint's probably my go-to. I pull up
really?
my app, I show them all the features, and that pretty much leads to, hey, get me a quote. I kind of see where that would work for my customer, and then they see it, and then they want the quote.
You could do it really easily.
Yeah.
No issues.
Not usually.
No fear about doing it. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? I'm not really confident. None at all.
Nope.
Let me ask you a question. Why is that?
I've done it a few times. I show quite a few people my app and my alarm system, so I kind of know how these conversations usually flow, and I'll sort of steer it towards what's the customer's need. What is their need for their house? One of my coworkers yesterday told me they've been robbed twice. They have cameras and things like that, but there's no active deterrent like the Vivint system has. The whistles, the lights flashing, automatically locking doors, turning lights on. Tell them about those things, and then they see how it would work at their house. And then it's, hey, let me schedule a call for a guy. I'll have him call you. Here's a 3-way text, done.
By the way, did you hear what he just said? Here we go. Conversation. Let me find a need. Let me give you a solution. 3-way call, text, done. How do you feel if you're operating? Thanks, Ryan. How do you feel if you operate that way? Right. So what happens is this: when you have that thing that you know you are good at, hammer it, do it every day, and let's start creating some believable evidence, some results and proof that what you're doing is working in that particular area. So now let's switch gears. So we have these things that we're all confident in. And you guys, by the way, if you did not write down 1 or 2 or 3 things that you know that you are confident in your ability to do with an ACN, you got to get to work. And maybe some of you didn't. And I hope that you did. Okay, now let's go to the other side of the coin. What do you need to improve? What do you want to improve on? What do you want to get better at? Right? So I'm going to use a couple of the same examples, and you guys be ready if you will. And I appreciate your participation in this because I didn't know who would have their cameras on, who wouldn't. Well, I knew that some of you would, but let's start with Roxanne. So Roxanne, can you unmute yourself? Or Harrison, can you help me allow Roxanne to unmute? Okay,
Yes,
great.
sir. Good to go.
Thanks, Rox. So Roxanne, right, and you're good at a lot of what we do, right? But what would you say personally if you were to self-evaluate, if you were to self-scout? What is something that you know that you need to improve on, or you want to improve on, or you want to get more confident in? What would you be?
Customer acquisition. I want to be another Mark Maples.
Great. So so what part of customer acquisition do you want to improve? Watch this, you guys. It could be anything.
The ask.
The ask.
I don't make the ask. I know if I did with the relationships, I could get it. I just don't do it.
Okay, so you guys, so now she has an idea on what it is that we need to improve on. And mark my words, just based on this conversation. And by the way, nobody knew what I was going to train on today. There was no heads up to anybody. Do not be surprised because of who she is. Do not be surprised by the time we get to Palm Desert if she has broken through a personal customer threshold. And it won't stop her. It won't stop any of the other things that she do, but don't be surprised. Right? Roxanne, I appreciate it. Mark, can you unmute yourself? Mark Maples. Thank you, brother. By the way, it was awesome spending time with you at the National. The conversations that we had, I know they went deep, right? But it was great. And so do me a favor. You are a Vivint expert. You've got this thing frontwards and backwards, but what do you need to improve on and how can you do that? One thing.
I'm probably the opposite of Roxanne. I want to be more like her in terms of team building, and getting going through the numbers and feeling comfortable with asking people, are they open? And then coinciding with that, I need to shut up. I need to withhold some of the information because I'm just passionate, right? And I'm a teacher, and everything about me is like disseminating information to people, and that's who I am. And I love to talk to people. I sat on the flight from Cleveland to Houston with a young lady who's an entrepreneur. And we never stopped the whole entire flight, but I probably gave too much information, but I held off until the end and I didn't give her everything, but I probably still gave her too much.
So you guys, who can relate to Mark that when you start talking to someone, next thing you know, your freaking conversation becomes a runaway train and you're trying to stop the thing and you can't stop it. And it's like, oh my God, my brain is telling me to shut up, but my mouth won't stop moving. And I can't stop telling people because I'm excited or because they have questions or whatever. It's like the potato chip theory, man. You can't eat one. Anybody that looks at me and they put their hand into a bag of potato chips and they tell me they can only eat one and walk away, I'm telling you, you're a liar. That's not true because the world doesn't work that way. Potato chips were not designed for you to have just one. Now you might have none, but if you have one, you're not having one, right? And it's a runaway train. It's crazy. So Mark, I appreciate that. Kush, can you unmute yourself for a quick second?
Yes, sir.
What is one skill that if you could get better at on the side of really good at, what would it be?
Just like Mark and just like Roxanne, number one is customer acquisition. I don't do the ask. I feel like I'm being spammy or sharky if I'm asking for services. And then like Mr. Maples, I sometimes say a little too much because that runaway train just starts going downhill.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Hey, Ryan, really quickly, what would you say? Something that Ryan Swallow, something that a skill that you need to get better at, that you've identified that you want to improve.
I need to improve follow-up. I get it really excited. I get other people excited, and sometimes I don't follow through or follow up in time, or I wait too long, and then it's, I'm kind of like, what do I say when I call them? So I need to stay on it. I need to work my list and keep going.
Perfect. Now we're starting to identify some things. So now hopefully this is starting to resonate with you guys. Now I'm going to do something the person does not know I'm going to call on them. So Maria Estrada, can you unmute your side? So watch this. We've covered both. Maria, just really quickly, give me a skill that you're super confident in, something that you know that you could do. Drop you in the middle of a group and you could do this as it regards in regards to ACN. What would it be?
For me, it's the bilingual Spanish. Anything ACN, I can say it in Spanish.
Awesome. So you have
Not my first language.
You have a massive market that you can get to. Okay, give me one thing that you need to work on that you know that you want to try to get better at in building your business.
For me, it's closing and follow-up.
Perfect. So now look what we just did, you guys. I took a few different people that didn't know that they were going to be called on, explained what it is and why I wanted to share this with you today. And they identified things that they know that they're good at and confident. And then they described some things that they know that they need to work on. And then I asked Maria, she had no idea I was going to call on her. And I asked her to give me both in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Well, do you know what that means? That's somebody that is self-evaluated. But once you evaluate, now it comes into taking action. What action are you going to take to advance your strengths and continue to build on your strengths and work on your weaknesses, the things that you know you need to get better? And you guys, here's my game plan for each one of you on how to do that, right? You ready? Here's how to do it. And it's very technical. So you got to follow along. Do something every day. Just do something every day, right? Like you guys should make a point, and we all need to do this. I'm including myself. Make a point every single day to be in that area of strength for you, which is going to advance your business, but try not to let a day go by where you don't face the fear, face the thing that you know you need to get better at, and do it. Because what you may find is this: over the course of a week, and then over the course of a month, and then leading into Palm Desert, many of you are going to be in a different position than you're in right now because you took what I was saying today and you literally put it to work. So I'm letting you guys know, everybody has a balance sheet. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. They have things that they're better at. It's just easier for them to do. And then they have things that are more of a challenge. So don't give up one for the other. Focus on your strengths, but let's take care of the things that we need to get better at, right? Now, one last obvious thing before I move on and we close out for today. Here's the deal, you guys. And by the way, in this little group that we just did, there are people in this group that have strengths in areas that some of you have weaknesses. And there are other people who have strengths in areas where you have other weaknesses. And then there's people who have weaknesses where you have a strength. You heard that relationship between Mark and Roxanne and Kush when they just went through it. Like, oh, yo, I'm kind of like Roxanne. Oh, I'm kind of like Mark, right? Why not connect with the person on this call who has a strength that you want to improve on? Why not reach out to that person? Just send them a chat, send them a text message. Just reach out to them, right? I mean, why not? You guys, no one is going to keep the information from you. This is the Hard Rock Cafe. This is love all, serve all. Help. Why not? It doesn't slow down your progression by helping somebody else build theirs. It does not slow down your advancement by helping somebody else advance. So all of this leads to production. So what's your game plan? What's your game plan for production? What is it? Right? Are you going to put yourself in an environment where you have the opportunity to meet people? Are you going to put yourself in an environment where you have the opportunity to acquire customers? Are you going to put yourself in an environment where you have the opportunity to build rapport and relationships? So I want everybody to write this down, right? Please write this down. Write this down. Here's my date. Here's my date. And what do I mean by that? Underneath here's my date, I want you to write this: position and points. Here's my date. Here's my date to get this position accomplished. Here's my date to get the next point threshold accomplished. Now, it's very easy to not write these things down. But if you do, you know what? You've now set a goal. Work on your strengths to acquire that goal, and hammer your strengths to acquire that goal, and work on the things that you feel maybe are lacking and a little bit weak, and let's just go after it. But now you have a framework, you have a game plan, and you guys, you have a framework that I've given you, you have a game plan that I've given you, and now you have resources within this very call. So last thing to tell you guys, the thing that's going to advance everything that we talked about so fast are the events. So here's what I'm going to tell you, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you. We started an accountability group with a handful of people, and I'm telling you guys, I want you to hear me. Great, you guys. I see some dates coming up there. That's awesome. I want you guys to know, right? I am making zero apologies, and I am making zero adjustments to what I'm about to share with you. This is my opinion. Follow it or not, entirely up to you. Roxanne smiling because she knows what I'm gonna. She knows exactly what I'm gonna say because I've been preaching on this. We had 4 events. We're now down to 3 big events that I see leading into the new year. And I appreciate Harrison mentioning one of them, right? So we have our Palm Desert Leadership, Road to SVP. We have the Orlando National. So Road to SVP, August 9th, 10th, 11th in Palm Desert at an insane resort. It's insane. And then we have from Palm Desert to the National in Orlando in October. And then after the Orlando National in October, we have the Leadership in Tahoe. So we have 3 events. Listen to me, you guys. Listen to how logical this is. We have 3 significant events over the course of the next 6 months. 3 events in 6 months. What is the idea? The idea here is not using the events just for you. That should be a no-brainer. You figure it out. Well, I don't know how I'm going to get here. I don't know how I'm going to get there. Be resourceful. Figure it out. The stories that are on here, the stories of people that are on just on this Zoom that have done extraordinary things to be at these events. We have 3 events in 6 months. That gives us huge windows of time to build into each event. I always tell people, you guys, people want the events to do these magical things for them. You know who gets the magic coming out of these events? The people that build into the events. Boy, I don't know if he's on the call. Let me just see really quickly here. I got to see. I'm looking for a gentleman. I don't know if he is on or not. Bear with me. So I want you guys to hear if he, you know what? He is driving. Mr. Dorsey, is it possible? Harrison, can you unmute Jelani Dorsey?
Hey, what's going on, Dean? How are you?
Hey, Jelani, really quick. I appreciate you being on. Listen, would you
Sure.
do me a favor? Would you share, you guys? I just want you to hear this. We just had the event in Cleveland. Jelani owns a mortgage banking business, very successful in Ohio. But what I want him to share with you is what happened to one of his team members, right? She's amazing. And what happened to her by coming to the event, which changed everything for her. She's a phenomenal up and coming leader, and it is amazing, right? So Jelani, would you mind sharing what happened with our girl when she got to the event and what happened there and then what happened after as a result of being there? Would you mind doing that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, not a problem. So I have one of my senior loan officers in my organization. Her name is Maya Rucker, phenomenal woman, and she also runs a women who invest real estate group. So she came to the International in Cleveland, and she said she was just fired up. She said not only was she fired up to get extremely active in ACN, but she said it motivated her for a mortgage business too. So it was killing leadership on, two fronts. She's like, I mean, this mindset training motivates me for both things. But she went into the event. She had 2 Zoom meetings. We had one with 2 major A players on there, and then 2. She did 2 one day. So she did 7 exposures. And one of the women that's getting started is a multi-million-dollar real estate agent, top producer. She's getting ready to sign up, and they're putting a 44-unit apartment complex electricity bill in today. So, and, she's rolling. She's like, this is just a game to me now. She's like, I just feel like, she said, I took it very serious when the co-founder, Greg Provenzano, said, take 10 pennies in your left pocket and move it to the right. And so she took that seriously, and she just treats this like a game. And the same way we hold ourselves accountable in our mortgage banking business, it's just the same thing, but a different industry. So she's fired up. And we're probably, we're averaging a rep a day. Once we get all these reps in, I mean, we've put in a rep a day, since, last Saturday. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Jelani. Now, you guys, listen to this. Do you know why this happened? Because Jelani was non-negotiable about getting Maya to the event. And I'm telling you, we saw this happen right in front of our eyes. Like he had to like get her to the event. But when she was there, she's like, this is unbelievable. And she can't stop putting people in front of us. So the reason I share that with you is, what if you guys had that experience with someone from now until Palm Desert, and now they're feeling that way in Palm Desert? Now you and that person are now building, and now that happens in Orlando. And now you have 3 or 4 lines of business represented with you in Orlando. And then you get them to an advanced leadership training in Tahoe. How does your new year look? If you reverse engineer this thing if you reverse engineer this thing from January 1, when everybody has their New Year's resolutions, and you reverse engineer it to today, right? You heard from Mark and Roxanne and from Kush and from Maria and from Jelani and none of these people knew, and Ryan, and none of these people knew I was going to call on them. And we identified strengths. We identified some weaknesses. We're going to move forward. We have a game plan to do that. And now you have these events to build into. Give me a break. Doesn't get any better than that. Because guess who's going to leave you alone and leave you stranded by the roadside? No one. No one is going to do that. No one is going to do that. So all you need to do is meet us halfway. And I'm telling you this. Take a leap of faith that we know what we're doing in regards to building your business from event to event to event. And if you take advantage of that and you do some self-evaluation, maybe some of you need to get better at promoting events. Maybe that's a big one. Wow, what a massive, what a light bulb, right? What a light bulb. And I'm getting a bunch of text messages. Tahoe is Sunday, November 3rd, and Monday, November 4th. We stay overnight and leave on the 5th. So people arrive on the 3rd, we stay overnight the 3rd and the 4th, and we leave on the 5th. So anyway, you guys, that's how this thing works. So if you use these events and you move forward, 3 big events in the next 6 months, watch what happens for you. Gary, I'm telling you, if you take little bits of action every single day, it will be impossible for you to be at the same position you're in right now come the end of the year. It's impossible. It wouldn't be possible. It's funny, one of the people on this call, she always gets it first, is Roxanne, because I guess it's because we have these conversations a lot, but it is a fact. It will not be possible for you guys to do what I'm saying over the course of the next 6 months and be in the same position that you're in come January 1. Who on this call is an ETL that wants to be RC by the end of the year? Who on this call is an RC that wants to be RD by the end of the year? Thank you, sir. Who on this call is an RD who wants to go RVP by the end of the year? Right? You guys, I'm letting you know it is available. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. It is self-evaluation to take stock in what it is that we need to do, our strengths and our weaknesses, evaluate those things, focus on your strengths, work around all the stuff on your weaknesses, use these events, and let's roll.